Okay, students, so very good morning and a welcome, very warm welcome to today's English class. And as you all know that today we are going to continue with the text of the chapter, that is chapter number 4, Landscape of the Soul. In yesterday's class, what we did, we just took the chapter highlights, and after that we just took the small conceptualization of the chapter. Okay, so see yesterday what we did, हमने क्या किया था, हमने कॉन्सेप्चुलाइजेशन किया इस चैप्टर का. Along with that हमने चैप्टर का स्केच देखा, that is the chapter sketch, all about the characters we studied and small anecdotes जो दिए हुए हैं इसमें, just we had the introduction of the small anecdote. And now today we are going to start with the text, that is line to line explanation of the chapter. But before starting that, take a quick revision of the concept of the chapter in 4 to 5 points, and then we are going to start with the text. So sometimes what happens ना, हम कल की बात कल ही भूल जाते हैं, so कुछ चीजें आपके दिमाग में से suppose निकल गई हों, so for that supposing factor हम एक बार 5 to 6 lines में इस चैप्टर का एक क्विक कॉन्सेप्ट समझ लेते हैं, and after that हम लोग इसका लाइन टू लाइन टेक्स्ट कंटिन्यू करेंगे. Fine. So see, this chapter, it's about a contrast between the two kinds of art, that is a Chinese art and a European art. So it is said that Chinese paintings जो है, what are they? They are abstract in nature as they can't be defined and have to be felt or experienced. Now Chinese paintings क्या है, वो abstract होती है nature में, ठीक है, because they can't be defined and they have to be felt or experienced. And in contrast क्या है, there is illusionistic likeness in European painting, और in contrast we can say कि एक illusionistic likeness होती है in the European painting. So Chinese और European में ये difference है. Europeans के लिए अगर जो onlooker है ना, उसको अगर चीज को कलर में और दिखने में कोई चीज इंटरेस्टिंग है, then he can just judge the painting. But Chinese के लिए कहा जाता है that they want the onlooker to be physically and mentally both present on the spot, then only they are going to have the deep meaning of the, we can say, उस पेंटिंग को वो अच्छे से समझ पाएंगे. So Chinese painter यहाँ पे जिनके बारे में बताया गया है, Chinese painter Liu Dezhou, he disappeared inside his painting, he disappeared inside his last painting. वो इतने डीप पेंटर थे कि वो अपनी पेंटिंग में ही लॉस्ट हो गए. जो उनकी लास्ट पेंटिंग थी, वो उन्होंने उस पेंटिंग में एक डोर, एक मैजिकल डोर को ओपन किया, एंड ही जस्ट एंटर्ड इनसाइड एंड द पेंटिंग एंड ही हिमसेल्फ बोथ वर डिसअपीयर्ड. उसके बाद में वो कभी दिखाई नहीं दिए. Another Chinese painter who did not want to paint the eyes of the dragon, एक और यहाँ पेंटिंग का एनेक्डोट दिया हुआ है कि एक पेंटर थे, उन्होंने एक ड्रैगन बनाया, वेरी ब्यूटीफुल ड्रैगन, रियलिस्टिक ड्रैगन यू कैन से, बट उसमें उन्होंने उसकी आईज नहीं पेंट की. व्हाई? यू नो व्हाट इज द रीजन? बिकॉज ही सेज कि अगर हमने इस पेंटर की अगर आईज, ड्रैगन की अगर इस पेंटर ने आईज ड्रॉ कर दी ना, तो ड्रैगन उसको देख लेगा एंड ड्रैगन में कम आउट ऑफ द पेंटिंग एंड अटैक ऑन हिम. सो बिकॉज ऑफ जस्ट दैट फियर उन्होंने उसको ड्रैगन की आईज नहीं बनाई. And the second one is a Belgian painter Quentin Metzges. He painted a realistic fly in order to marry the woman he loved. So ये तीनों anecdotes को हम डिटेल देखेंगे इस चैप्टर में. Chinese paintings, they are based on the philosophy of Taoism. Taoism क्या कहता है? That life has no meaning unless we undertake the inner spiritual journey. And Chinese painter, they want the viewer active participation, not only physically but also mentally while viewing their paintings. And along with that, Taoism को जब हमने पढ़ा तो हमने उसमें एक और concept पढ़ा था. Taoism is the interaction of what? Two complementary poles, that is yin and yang. Yin is a feminine concept and yang is a masculine concept, and the interaction of both of them are necessary to make the universe. And man is the medium of communication. It's said over here, through between the two complementary poles, that is meeting point. And उसको क्या कहा गया है? Meeting point. And you can see his presence too in the Chinese painting. और Chinese painting में आप इस concept की presence को देख सकते हो. Okay, understood? तो मूव करें अब टेक्स्ट पे. नाउ दिस वाज एक छोटा सा एक एक्सप्लेनेशन था जिससे कि आपको ये पता चल जाए जैसे इस स्टोरी में हम क्या करने वाले हैं. तो मोस्ट इंटरेस्टिंग तो इनमें तीन एनेक्डोट्स, तीन छोटी छोटी स्टोरीज जो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग होने वाली है इसमें. नाउ सी, जो फर्स्ट थी ना, जब व्यू डेजोई अपनी ही पेंटिंग में लॉस्ट हो गए थे, वो वाला इंसिडेंस पढ़ते हैं यहाँ पे. नाउ सी, a wonderful old tale is told about the painter View Desoy. ठीक है. Now, who lived in the 8th century. His last painting was a landscape commissioned by the Zhang Emperor Xuanzong to decorate a palace wall. The master had hidden his work behind a screen, so only the emperor would see it. For a long while, the emperor admired the wonderful scene, discovering forest, high mountains, waterfalls, clouds floating in an immense sky, men on hilly path, birds in the flight. Look, sire, said the painter, in this cave at the foot of the mountain dwells a spirit, and what that spirit is. Okay, and the painter clapped his hand and the entrance to the cave opened. The inside is splendid beyond anything words can convey. Please let me show your majesty the way. The painter entered the cave, but the entrance closed behind him. And before the astonished emperor could move or utter a word, the painting had vanished from the wall. Not a trace of Yu Dezoi's brush was left, and the artist was never seen again in this world. Now see, 8th century की बात है. एक Chinese emperor थे Xuanzong. Now he just commissioned a painter. उन्होंने एक पेंटर को कमीशन किया. Commission is that he just appointed a painter to come and paint a masterpiece on the wall of his palace. Now, name of the painter was what? View Desoy. To paint a landscape, he was commissioned. And when the painting was ready, the emperor was invited just to appreciate it. ठीक है, अब बुलाया गया उनको कि emperor को देखा जाओ. Now, after looking at it, he appreciated. The emperor enjoyed looking at the forest, the high mountains, the waterfalls, cloud, men on hilly paths, birds in flight, etc. This all is depicted in the painting. But the painter was not satisfied. The painter satisfied नहीं था. Why was the painter not satisfied? The painter was not satisfied. होता है, कई बार होते हैं ऐसी चीजें जिनको बहुत ज्यादा परफेक्शन की नीड होती है ना, वो कभी भी इतना इजीली सेटिस्फाई नहीं होते. And he invited the attention of the emperor. अब उन्होंने satisfy होने के लिए क्या किया? Emperor की attention capture की किस तरफ? Towards the cave. उसमें एक cave भी थी, उसकी तरफ. He attracted his attention toward the cave in the painting, and inside which the painter said, और उसके अंदर पेंटर ने क्या कहा था? He says that sir, आपको पता है ये जो cave है इसके अंदर एक spirit भी reside करती है. And the painter clapped his hand. जैसे ही उन्होंने clap किया, the cave door opened and causing the entrance to the cave. And then the painter said, the inside is splendid. कि जो इस cave के अंदर है ना, बहुत splendid है. Beyond my words can express it, splendid to that extent. तो आप उसके लिए क्या करो? Please come inside with me. So please let me show you the way, majesty. मैं आपको रास्ता दिखाता हूँ. Please do me a favor to come inside. And the painter entered the cave and he disappeared. Painter जैसे ही cave में enter हुआ, cave का door close हुआ and he was disappeared. And the cave door closed and the painting itself disappeared from the wall before the emperor could move. Emperor move करता उससे पहले तो वो जो painting थी ना, जो wall पे, वो painting ही move हो गई. So just see कि painting का ही move हो जाना, it was such a typical thing कि ये क्या हो गया. So this was a one anecdote we can say जो कहाँ से आया है? From this View Desoy's painting. Such stories play an important part in China's classical education. The books of Confucius and Zhuangzi are full of them. They help the masters to guide his disciple in the right direction. Beyond the anecdote, they are deeply revealing of the spirit in which art was considered. Now, such stories, these stories play a very important part in China's classical education. ये जो books है ना, Confucius की and Zhuangzi की, ये full of these kind of anecdotes थी. Why? Because ये जो anecdotes थे ना, they help the masters to guide his disciple in the right direction. वो guide करते थे disciple को in the right direction. एंड इन बियॉन्ड, इन एनेक्डोट से अगर हम बियॉन्ड जाते तो ये बहुत ही डीपली रिवील करते हैं द स्पिरिट इन विच द आर्ट वाज कंसीडर्ड, उस स्पिरिट तक, उस लेवल तक चले जाते हैं जहां पे हम आर्ट को कंसीडर करके चलते हैं. Now contrast this story or another famous one about a painter who wouldn't draw the eye of a dragon he had painted for fear it would fly out of the painting, with an old story from my native Flanders that I find most representative of the Western paintings. Now he says that contrasting to this story, एक और famous one था about a painter who wouldn't draw the eye of a dragon, जो उस dragon की eye भी draw नहीं करेंगे, and he had painted for fear it would fly out of the painting, and for the fear we can say that it would fly out of the painting. अब क्या हुआ, कॉन्ट्रास्ट ऑफ द स्टोरी क्या था, एक और फेमस स्टोरी थी अबाउट अ पेंटर, उसने एक ड्रैगन की आई नहीं बनाई, जस्ट इस डर से कि अगर उसकी आंख बना दी मैंने तो वो देख लेगा मुझे, एंड ड्रैगन इज गोइंग टू कम आउट ऑफ द पेंटिंग, फ्लाई आउट ऑफ द पेंटिंग, and he is going to attack on me. So with an old story from my native Flanders that I find most representative of the Western painting. ये Western painting का एक बहुत ही great representative example था. In 15th century, Antwerp, a master blacksmith called Quinton Maxis fell in love with a painter's daughter. The father would never accept a son-in-law in such a profession. So Quinton sneaked into the painter's studio and painted a fly on his latest panel with such delicate realism that the master tried to swat it away before he realized what had happened. Quinton was immediately admitted as an apprentice into his studio, and he married his beloved and went on to become one of the most famous painters of his age. These two stories illustrate what each form of art is trying to achieve, a perfect illusionistic likeness in Europe and the essence of inner life and spirit in Asia. Now in 15th century, another thing happened. The Antwerp एक master blacksmith थे जिनका नाम था Quinton Maxis. He just fell in love with a girl, and who the girl was the painter's daughter. Now further क्या हुआ? Now देखो, the father किसी भी level पे accept नहीं करेंगे son-in-law in such a profession. So Quinton जो थे ना, he just sneaked into the painter's studio. वो बिल्कुल painter के studio में he just sneaked in and painted a fly on his latest panel. और उन्होंने उस latest panel पे एक छोटी सी क्या बना दी, fly, मक्खी बना दी. And it was drawn with, painted with such a delicate realism कि जो master थे ना, उन्होंने try किया to swat it away, उसको उड़ाने की कोशिश की, before he realized what had happened. इससे पहले कि ये realize करते that actually what has happened, कि actually हुआ क्या. ठीक है? Yes. So see. So इससे पहले कि he should have realized कि ये actual में क्या है, is it a painting or is it a real fly? So Quinton was immediately, he just was admitted as an apprentice to his studio, and having such a great real painter in the form of a son-in-law for you was a thing of great happiness for that emperor. So what he did was for that painter. So what he did, he allowed them to get married, and he married his beloved and went on to become one of the most famous painter of his age. So ये जो दो stories आपने देखी ना, they illustrate what each of the artists trying to achieve. That is a perfect illusionistic likeness. तो ये दोनों क्या करना अचीव इन दोनों ने, ये जो एक ड्रैगन वाली थी या फिर एक ये जो फ्लाई वाली थी, ये बेसिकली क्या अचीव कर रही हैं, they are achieving illusionistic likeness. That is a technique of using pictorial method to deceive the eye. ठीक है, एक पिक्टोरियल मेथड से किसी को एक तरह से जो बोलते हैं ना, एक तरह के काइंड ऑफ डिसीविंग समवन हो गया ये, कि आपको दिख कुछ रहा है और एक्चुअल में वो होता कुछ है, पागल बना लेना समवन. तो वो चीज इन यूरोप, द एसेंस ऑफ इनर लाइफ एंड स्पिरिट इन एशिया. So it was creating an illusionistic likeness in Europe and an essence of inner life and spirit that it was being created in the rest of the Asia. So in the Chinese story, the emperor commissioned a painting and appreciates its outer appearance, but the artist revealed to him the true meaning of his work. Emperor may rule over a territory he has conquered, but only the artist knows the way within. Let me show you the way. The Tao, a word that means both the path or the method, and the mysterious work of the universe. Painting is gone, but the artist has reached his goal beyond any material appearance. So now जो हमने एक Chinese painting जिसके बारे में हमने पढ़ा, it showed us what? It showed us the emperor's commission. That emperor ने commission किया एक painter को, and उसने उनको painting बना के दी, and he just appreciated its outer appearance. But जो artist था ना, he reveals to him, उस artist ने उनको क्या reveal किया? That जो true meaning है उनके work का, वो उनको उसने रिवील किया. एम्परर में रूल ओवर द टेरिटरी. एम्परर जो टेरिटरी को वो कॉन्कर करता है, वो उस टेरिटरी को रूल कर सकता है. नो डाउट ही और शी कैन रूल द टेरिटरी दैट हैज बीन कॉन्कर्ड बाय देम, but only the artist knows the way within his painting. So when he says na, let me show you the way, the Tao, a word that means both path and the method, and ये जो mysterious work था of the universe, उसके लिए उन्होंने ये Tao word use किया. Painting is finally gone, but we can say that yes, artist जो चाहता था ना, उस artist का वो ultimate goal जो है वो achieve हो गया, and he has reached his ultimate goal. And beyond any material appearance, and किसी भी material appearance से कहीं beyond था, जो satisfaction उसको अपना काम करने के बाद में चाहिए था, that, and that ultimately he has reached. वो ultimately उन्होंने उस point पे वो पहुंच गए. So see, a classical Chinese landscape is not meant to reproduce an actual view, as would a Western figurative painting, whereas the European painter wants you to borrow his eyes and look at a particular landscape exactly as he saw it. And from a specific angle, the Chinese painter does not choose a single viewpoint. His landscape is not a real one, and you can enter it from any point and then travel in it. The artist creates a path for your eye to travel up and down, then back again in a leisurely movement. This is on action of slowly opening one section of the painting, then rolling it up to move on to the other. Now adds a dimension of the time which is unknown to any other form of painting. It also requires the active participation of the viewer, who decides at what pace he will travel through the painting. A participation which is physical as well as mental. The Chinese painter does not want you to borrow his eyes. He wants you to enter his mind. The landscape is an inner one, a spiritual and conceptual space. Yes, so we can say that a classical Chinese landscape जो होता है ना is not meant to reproduce an actual view. वो कोई actual view reproduce करने के लिए नहीं बना, as would a Western figurative painting. जैसे कि एक Western figurative painting होती है. Now what do you mean by the Western figurative painting? जो Western paintings जो होती हैं, जिसमें ultimately क्या चाहिए होता है? Ultimately आपको उसमें कुछ बहुत greatness नहीं चाहिए होती. आपको उसके अंदर क्या चाहिए होता है? बिल्कुल रिप्रेजेंटेशन चाहिए होता है, पीस ऑफ आर्ट थ्रू द आईज ऑफ द क्रिएटर्स इमेजिनेशन. सिर्फ एक क्रिएटर की इमेजिनेशन के थ्रू आपको एक वहां पे आर्ट वर्क चाहिए होता है. Whereas यूरोपियन पेंटर क्या बोलता है? He says that he wants you to borrow his eyes. आप उनकी आंखें बोरो करो and look at a particular landscape, और उस particular landscape को देखो exactly as he saw it, exactly जैसे कि उन्होंने उसको देखा from a specific angle. And the Chinese painter does not choose a single viewpoint. तो Chinese painter जो थे, उन्होंने उस single viewpoint को choose नहीं किया. His landscape is not a real one, and you can enter it from any point. उनका landscape real नहीं था. आप जिस point से चाहो, you can enter it. आप उसमें enter हो सकते थे. To travel, then travel in it. और फिर उसमें travel करो. The artist creates a path for your eyes to travel up and down, and then back again in a leisurely movement. जो artist होते हैं ना, वो क्या करते थे? वो आपके लिए एक ऐसा path create कर देते थे that you can travel your eyes even up and down and back again to your point, and in a very leisurely movement, that is in a very free movement. And this is even more true in the case of horizontal scroll, in which action is slowly opening one section of the painting, then rolling it up to move on to the other, and then it adds a dimension of time which is unknown in any other form of painting. Sometime क्या होता है पेंटिंग का पहले एक सेक्शन ओपन होता है, फिर सेकंड सेक्शन ओपन होता है, इट्स लिंक्ड विद द फर्स्ट वन, then once it is complete then we move on to the third section of the painting. तो ये क्या है कनेक्टिविटी, ये इस तरह की पेंटिंग के अलावा दूसरी पेंटिंग्स के लिए एक अननोन चीज है. It also requires the active participation of the viewers. So it is very important कि आपने जब कोई पेंटिंग बना दी, जब तक आपके पास में viewers का participation नहीं होगा, it's not going to give any meaning to your work. So who decides at what pace he will travel through the painting? A participation which is physical as well as mental. The Chinese painter does not want you to borrow his eyes. He wants you to enter his mind. The landscape is an inner one, the spiritual and conceptual one. So Chinese painter जो थे उन्हें नहीं चाहिए था, he does not want you to borrow his eyes. वो नहीं चाहते that you should borrow his eyes. अब वो चाहते हैं कि आप उनके दिमाग में घुस जाओ, सिर्फ उनकी आईज मत बोरो करो, just enter into his mind and then just look at the landscape and you will see that the landscape is an inner one, spiritual one, conceptual space. Okay, तो एक बहुत ही वो अमेजिंग conceptual space कहने का मतलब क्या होता है, that relation with the abstract instead of factual representation required for the understanding of the concept. हमें क्या करना होता है, abstract ideas के साथ में एक ज्यादा एक relation रखना चाहिए than the factual representation, because abstract ideas होते हैं they are required for the understanding of the concept. Okay, so see, so the concept is expressed as sanshui, literally mountain water, which used together represent the word landscape. More than two elements of his image, these represent two complementary poles, reflecting the Taoist view of the universe. The mountain is yang, reaching vertically towards heaven, stable, warm, and dry in the sun, while the water is yin, horizontal and resting on the earth, fluid, moist, and cool. The interaction of yin, the receptive feminine aspect of universal energy, and its counterpart yang, active and masculine, is of course a fundamental notion of Taoism. Now, what is often overlooked is an essential third element, the middle void, where their interaction takes place. Now, this can be compared with the yogic practice of pranayama, breathe in, retain, breathe out. The suspension of breathe is the void where meditation occurs. Middle void is essential because nothing can happen without it. Hence the importance of white unpainted space in Chinese landscape. So ये कह रहे हैं कि ये जो concept है ना, इसे express किया गया with the help of a word that is known as sanshui. Sanshui basically Chinese language के अंदर एक landscape को बोला जाता है, literally mountain water. और san मतलब mountain and sui मतलब water. So basically mountain water, which used together ये represent करते हैं the word landscape. More than two elements of an image, दो elements से ज्यादा जो होते हैं एक इमेज के, these represents two complementary poles. ये दो complementary poles को represent कर रहे हैं, and this is reflecting the Taoist view of the universe. इस universe का जो Taoist view है ना, उसको represent करता है ये sanshui का concept. और ये क्या बोलता है कि mountain क्या है, yang होता है, and वो reach करता है vertically towards the heaven. It is stable, it is warm and dry in the sun. And while the water is yin, और yin क्या होता है, water होता है, ठीक है. yang क्या है, mountain, और yin क्या है, water. and ये जो yin होता है ना, वो horizontal होता है, yang vertical होता है, yin horizontal होता है. horizontal and resting on the earth, resting on the earth. ये कैसा होता है, fluid होता है, moist होता है and cool होता है, just opposite to the yang. So the interaction of yin, the receptive feminine aspect of universal energy, और interaction जो है yin और yang का, yin जिसको कि क्या बोला गया है, the receptive feminine aspect of the universal energy and fundamental notion of the Taoism, ये है क्या, yin और yang. and yang ultimately is what, yang ultimately एक active masculine element होता है, एंड टुगेदर ऑफ कोर्स ये क्या बनाते हैं, फंडामेंटल नोशन ऑफ डाओइज्म। अक्सर जिसको चीज को ओवरलुक कर दिया जाता है ना, वो होता है एक एसेंशियल थर्ड एलिमेंट, एंड वो थर्ड एलिमेंट क्या होता है, द मिडल वर्ड। वो मिडल वर्ड जहां पे ये इंटरेक्शन होता है, एंड दिस कैन बी कंपेयर्ड विद द योगिक प्रैक्टिस, और इसको हम योगिक प्रैक्टिस और प्राणायाम के साथ में लिंक कंपेयर कर सकते हैं। प्राणायाम में क्या कहते हैं, ब्रीद इन, सांस अंदर लो, रिटेन, रोको, एंड ब्रीद आउट, मतलब सांस वापस छोड़ दो। ठीक है, सो ये क्या है, प्राणायाम की प्रैक्टिस। द सस्पेंशन ऑफ ब्रीथ इज वॉइड वेयर मेडिटेशन अकर। तो ये कह रहे हैं जहाँ मेडिटेशन होता है ना, वहां ब्रीदिंग का सस्पेंशन जो होता है, इट इज जस्ट अ वॉइड, इट इज जस्ट अ वेस्ट। ना मिडिल वॉइस एक बहुत एसेंशियल चीज होती है, नथिंग कैन हैपन विदाउट इट। मिडिल वॉइड क्या है, बहुत एसेंशियल है, उसके बिना कुछ नहीं हो सकता। हेंस द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ व्हाइट अनपेंटेड सीन, जो इम्पोर्टेंस होती है उस व्हाइट अनपेंटेड सीन की, स्पेस की, इन द चाइनीज लैंडस्केप, वो बहुत ही ग्रेट। आपने कभी देखा होगा एक माउंटेन और एक ओशन की एक पेंटिंग, नीचे ब्लू ओशन होता है, उसके जस्ट ऊपर से एक पहाड़ पेंट कर दिए जाते हैं। या तो अभी हम अगर देखें, हम यहाँ पे अर्थ पे हैं और हमारे ऊपर एक स्काई है, तो क्या अर्थ और स्काई टच हो रहा है क्या, नहीं, बीच में एक हॉलो स्पेस भी होता है। सो दैट पर्टिकुलर हॉलो स्पेस यहाँ पे इस पेंटिंग के अंदर स्पेसिफिकली दिखाई जाती थी। Now, this is also where man finds a fundamental role in that space between heaven and earth. Now, this is also जहां पे man को क्या मिला था, एक fundamental space मिली थी in that space between heaven and earth. He becomes the conduit of communication between both poles of the universe. So he became what? He became the, we can say, एक intermediary बन गए वो, किस चीज के, of communication between the both the poles, that is universe and the other one. So his presence is essential, उनकी presence बहुत जरूरी है, even if it's only suggested. And even हम बोले कि अगर ये सिर्फ suggested है ना, for the from being lost or oppressed by the lofty peaks, he is in Francois Cheng's wonderful expression, the eye of the landscape, and says that his presence is essential, उनकी presence बहुत essential है, even if सिर्फ ऐसा सजेस्ट किया जाए that far from being lost or oppressed, वो उनको सब चीजें बहुत अच्छे से पता थी। Now they says that ultimately we are going to do what? Oppressed by the lofty peaks. He is in the Francois Cheng's wonderful expression, और उस wonderful expression को इन्होंने क्या बोला है, the eye of the landscape. That is why we can say that यहाँ पे ऐसा कहा गया that man is only the medium of communication between the two complementary poles of the universe, and you can see his presence too in the Chinese painting. और आप Chinese painting में उनकी presence को देख सकते हो. Okay, so basically in the last part we understood the concept of the sand shui. Sand shui basically, sand means the mountain and shui means the water. Once again एक बार explain कर देती हूँ. And here the two complementary poles have been explained. One is yin and one is yang. Yang is the mountain and yin is the water. So ये Taoist view था of the universe, and it is said mountain and water, and among them, along with them, एक थर्ड एलिमेंट भी था, दैट इज नोन एज द मिडल वर्ड, जहां पे यिन एंड यांग का इंट्रोडक्शन, जो इंटरेक्शन था वो होता था. सो अल्टीमेटली आप समझ गए हम क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं. इसके अंदर हमने जो चीज समझी इस चैप्टर के अंदर, वो अल्टीमेटली क्या था, द थिंग दैट यू हैव अंडरस्टूड नाइसली इज द राइटर हियर कॉन्ट्रास्ट चाइनीज आर्ट विद द यूरोपियन आर्ट by doing what? By recounting two stories about Chinese art and one story about the European art that we have explained and understood very clearly. Now, the European wants a perfect likeness, while he says in Asia, art is the essence of life and spirit. And Chinese art को क्या चाहिए होता है? Active participation of the viewer, both like what? Both physically and mentally, in order to understand the art. Okay, so I hope you have understood this comparative study of the Chinese and European painting very nicely, and it touches upon various subtleties of the reality and art. As we all know that art is of different forms, poetry, music, dance, many. यहाँ पे हमने कौन सी art form को पढ़ा है? The painting. And all these forms of expression have abstract nature, as they can't be defined and have to be felt or experienced. So ये जो chapter था has 3 important areas of discussions. What 3 areas we discussed? One is the anecdotes related to Chinese. Second is the European painting Taoism, and the third one is that how one of the philosophical doctrine of Taoism called Sanshui reflected in the painting. Okay, so this is all we can say for the chapter. I hope you understood it nicely. If there are any doubts, then just raise your hand so that we can just clear up the doubt. And if you have understood it nicely, then also please do raise the hand that आपको ये अच्छे से समझ में आ गया है. Yes, please. Okay. Nice chapter ना, एक बार नाम से हमें बोरिंग लगता है, but once we go through it हमें ये अच्छा लगता है. ठीक है? So ultimately we can say that yes, this is all for the class today. And you just go through the text. कोई doubt हो तो आप मुझे पूछ लेना. And now we'll be meeting in tomorrow's class with the further part of this chapter. We'll complete the question answers of this chapter and then we'll move to our next topic. Okay, till then just stay safe and take care of yourself.